Hey y'all, this is Dr. Traci Harrell, and you're watching Better Together and Living Powerfully. What is so exciting about today is it is summer in Seattle. And if you've not seen summer in Seattle, let me just say it is absolutely gorgeous. It is so beautiful. Oh my God, I cannot believe how gorgeous it is. Now, I might be having some special guests join me today. I'm not 100% sure, but I did invite some people to join me. I got a couple fans in the back. I got like two fans going in the room. It's a little, it's lovely. It's lovely. But I just got back from a walk. So let me just say that I am living my very best life. Yes, I am. I'm actually in Queen Anne. If I took you to look out the window, you'd see this beautiful view of the water. It is absolutely gorgeous. And so I actually got to watch the fireworks from this perfect vantage point, all kind of boats, right out in the water. I wake up to this beautiful water view. It is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So I came up to the room where the Wi-Fi is. So bear with me. And I hadn't been up here until like right before. So we're going to get to talk today about living your very best life. And I want to go back to where we started last week because there was so much content and someone asked me to send them a recap. It's all going to be in the book. No, just it really is going to be in the book. But I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back a minute. And I am going to share a little bit about what we were talking about last week so I can build on it for this week. But as a recap, how many of you have goals in your life, objectives, all right, things that you want to accomplish and you're like, okay, hold please. I'm doing some work on these topics, but I may not be quite showing up for myself fully. And that's what I'm doing for the next 3 months. I'm like, okay, summertime, it's gorgeous. Like I've taken 2 walks today. It does help that I'm house sitting. it helps, right? But I'm taking 2 beautiful long walks. I'm going to take another one later on today. So the question is, if you have a goal, what are you doing? What actions are you taking to accomplish that goal? You have to really ask yourself, where are there inconsistencies in your life? So that concept of living powerfully sounds great, right? But it's so much better when we pause and do this work together. That's why we call this the Better Together Empowerment Series, because you got to really ask yourself if it's about weight or if it's about a business or if it's about just having better relationships with people in your life. All those things are possible. They're all possible. But you got to take steps, right? You got to take some real steps. And as you already know, I'm a transformational coach. I have 4 different certifications. And for the last year, I've been, kind of creating this foundation for people, with what I call the living powerfully experience with positive intelligence. Prior to that, I was a certified success coach with Success Magazine, which is the oldest professional development magazine in the country. And so I know all of that. I worked that whole process, right? I also was certified through David Baer. And he calls it facilitator. That there's a facilitator certification where you help facilitate their transformation. You can't transform another person. All you can do is show up lovingly to help them really look at their decisions. He actually his language is around decisions. And then there's Debrina Jackson Gandy, who's one of my favorite people. I did her transformational coaching certification called it's a transformational coaching program. And so becoming a certified coach with her was a combination of looking at what you say you're doing, even as a coach, right? She's like, what do you do? How is that showing up for you in your life? And so we all look, all these things. I became certified through Cornell University. So I got I'm an overachiever. But what I get to do for you is kind of package it all in such a way that hopefully isn't too much, which is why I try to slow down every now and then. I start talking in the beginning, and by the end, I'm like, here are the things. I've written everything out. So I'm packaging it in a free book that I'm going to put out into the universe as well. And if you are interested in bringing yourself forward, I'm going to have my director. If anybody pops in, just bring them on. I'm just going to be talking. But if anybody pops in, get their name, and I will and I will just welcome them into the fold. That's all I got to say. Okay. So, again, I have tons of information to share with you, but this is really about you doing the work for yourself, because I'm going to be doing my work, and I'm also going to be talking about those challenges, right? Because the truth is, stay with me. I've read like 1,000 books, not like 1,000. I've read over 1,000 books. I stopped counting at 1,000. Not people who say I've read a book by reading an overview. I listened to the recap. No, that's not the same as reading 1,000 books. It really is not. It's good. It's wonderful, but it's not the same. It is really not the same. Since I was a child, like 13, I started like counting beyond the books that we had to read. I was like, my mom actually asked me one summer, like, how many books did you read this summer? I was like, and what did you do there? I was like, oh, this is good. It was just kind of a cool list. And I found myself going back to them, oftentimes, because I was so fascinated by how the brain works. So I say that to say this. My company is called It's All Bigger Than Me, because it ain't about me. But the one thing God told me is he gave me a whole bunch of information and capacity to pack a lot of information in here, but it is not about me. My company is called It's All Bigger Than Me Ministry, which is why I show up for free in community each and every week. But I also have It's All Bigger Than Me Consulting, because I'm very intentional about business owners and professionals and leaders who truly want to transform in their lives, who truly want to do big things. Like people who believe that major, humongous transformation in their life and in their business is possible. I want to help. Those are the kind of people I want to help. Right? I've helped a couple groups, and it felt like my little bit of stuff I was giving was too much. And I was like, you barely even I barely scraped the surface. So I'm slowing down. I'm packaging it differently. I'm going to make sure that anybody that I'm working with gets everything they want and need. So starting with you, starting with each of you. So each week I show up here on Rainier Avenue Radio, and this is called Better Together and Living Powerfully for a reason. Living powerfully means different things to each person, but for you and for me, hopefully it means those goals that you want to accomplish. What are you doing about them? What are you doing about them? And again, last week what we said is look for those inconsistencies. When you say you want a thing, but you know in your own heart of hearts, you're not doing the things. For me, I've been talking about, and I put it in air quotes, right? Releasing excess weight. Yeah, and I still celebrate with food all the time. As a Southern girl, that's how we show our love. That's my thing, right? And so it's like, Now, as I think about me and for myself, drinking water. This is like alkaline water. I don't know if you can read that, but it's actually alkaline water. And my father died of colon cancer, and that's when I learned about alkalinity, like having water that's alkaline. So what I've been doing, shifting, is really focusing on the beverages that I consume. No more sugary beverages. I tried to drink a couple this weekend. I was like, not that great. Not that great. I was like, so I really, have shifted kind of my mindset. Like my body really wants and deserves water for hydration. I realize those sugary beverages are not nutritional at all. They're actually not even that good. So voila, that's a step in the right direction. I also have been eating more vegetables and doing things that are aligned with the ultimate goal that I want. So my question back to you, each of you, is what are you doing? How are you aligning the words that you say with the actions that you take? And let me just say, it's about in the moment. I have some friends who would say, you know what, that's just not my style. I don't like to adjust in the moment. Leave me alone. And which you got to leave people alone. Let them handle their business the way, no judgment, right? No judgment. But the most effective, let me just put this out there into the universe. The most effective results will come for you when it's in the moment, when you challenge yourself in the moment. That's why that positive intelligence, that pause, the power of the pause, we've talked about that for a while. Being able to just pause and breathe. Whatever's happening, maybe someone said something to you, maybe something's happened to you, and your normal go-to is to drink if you're a drinker, which I'm not, but maybe it's to eat something to soothe you. You celebrate with food, you soothe with food, whatever it is, whatever it is, right? You just, maybe you don't show up. Maybe you get edgy and you snap at someone and you say something that you think is like, you're right to say, no matter how it's going to harm another person. And it's like, you could probably check yourself in those moments and just really ask, is this, for my good? Is this really how I want to show up in the universe? Is this going to help other people? Maybe it is. If that's your story, all good. Like who am I to judge, right? But it's about in the moment. So let me just say these words. Your decisions determine your destiny. I'll make it 3 words. Decisions determine your destiny. But it's your decisions determine your destiny. So it's in those moments where you're like, what should I have to eat right now? Well, I'm craving blah, blah, blah. Well, in the fridge, I have blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying don't eat what you want. I am saying be intentional. If you be aligned. If you say your body is a divine temple, treat it as such, right? If you're saying that your business is something you want to start, invest some time. You got 24 hours. There is no reason why you can't do one thing a day, 2 little baby things a day. I say 2, 1 to 3, right? 1 to 3, any of those things, right? There's no reason why you can't invest in yourself. And a goal outside of the normal shenanigans that maybe some of us are on these, wheels where you got to go to work and you got to do the thing and you blah, 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 blah. Like, fortunately, I get to help some people who sometimes want to be helped and sometimes they don't. That's my challenge as a coach. It's like, oh my God. It's like, oh my God, you say you want to be helped, but your actions are not aligned with that. So what are we going to do about that? So that's my challenge as a coach. But fortunately, I don't have a challenge about like my values. Like I show up, thank God. I get to show up and support organizations that are helping others in my community. So I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I am thankful in 1,000 different ways. So my ask for you is, are you showing up for yourself in a way that perfectly aligns with what you would hope? I'm just looking for the time. I'm assuming my producer will let me know if anyone is on. Like I said, just bring them on. Don't let anyone sit and I'll put an open invitation out there, y'all, to a group that I'm a part of. It's called Holistic Success. And I just put a post in our little Facebook chat and was like, hey, I'm going live today at 6. And a lot of people are like, what? I don't have time for that. But I'll keep the invitation open throughout the next 5 months. I can't believe it's already July. So we're all going to be together through like December 15th. And the good thing is, Debrina Jackson Gandy, who leads this Holistic Success community, she had us all write a letter at the very beginning of the year. So that's kind of like, we all it's June, July. If we had to restart the year or we had to like check in on your goals that you set to yourself at the beginning of the year, it doesn't even matter what they were, right? You could say, hey, some things have happened in the last 6-7 months, or it's July now. So, some things have happened, and those goals that I set out for myself in January are not the same goals that I like to pursue in the second half of the year. You get to decide. Remember, your decisions determine your destiny, but make some decisions, right? Decide, like have some goals. That is my only goal. Living powerfully is not about being on autopilot. That's where the saboteurs show up, and then you keep doing what you've been doing. You keep getting what you got because you're doing what you did. Excuse me. I just made myself laugh. Oh, please. Oh, the other thing I did, I bought a new water bottle. Actually, I left my one that looks kind of just like this, but a little bit smaller. I left it at an event for consultants with the city of Seattle last week. And so then I bought a larger water bottle. Again, in my mind, yet another thing that contributes to my goals. If I say I want to drink water, why not drink more water? Right? It's a 40 ounce. That made me laugh too. I'm like, oh, I got a 40 ounce. I don't know. I think I had like a 24 ounce or something before. But who doesn't need more water? Absolutely. And then I fill it up with ice and it stays icy the whole day. So I can drink multiple rounds of this. And so for me, this is me achieving my goals. So now let me help you achieve yours. Okay. So remember, just to recap from last week, and this is just from memory. It says studio instability issues. Okay. It says Instagram issues. I don't have an Instagram account. That must be for the station. All good. Okay, so we're going to keep moving. So what I love most about helping each of you is that we get to, okay, good. I'm just pulling up my notes. Yes. So we get to show up and we get to, let's see, here we go. Okay. So we get to, yes. just querying for my notes. Okay. So what we get to do as it relates to actually living powerfully, there's a few things. If I'm aligned with my purpose, I choose to live powerfully. I choose to live powerfully now. So if your life ended today, would the world know your purpose? That's a reflective question. I got to pause and ask each of you. Would people know? Like, people got to know. Traci was about helping us each to live powerfully. She showed up every Monday, right? Thinking and saying it's better together. God put me on this earth to help people to live powerfully, which means I'm gonna do some work every day aligned with that. Whether you're personal, professional, hopefully, if you're around me, you know I'm not gonna blow smoke, as they say. That probably was not the best reference, but I'm going to speak the truth to the best of my ability. I'm going to support you in achieving your goals to the best of my abilities. And period, end of story. So if I have a story where I truly want each of you to, think about if your life ended today. I know it sounds morbid. Would the world know your purpose? Would you have any regrets about what you did or didn't do, what you did or didn't leave for the next generation? Would you have regrets? Are there things that you want to say, you know what, I've learned this thing. This is my journey, right? These are some things that I know for a fact. I wish I knew when I was growing up, some things that I've learned now. I'm actually writing a series. I'm doing a series. It's going to be a video series. You can email me, Daniel, if you can write this in the chat. Let's see. It's Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. I'm going to put my email. Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. Bam. So I'm gonna ask you to if you want to share your living legacy. Living legacy. So email me. I want to help to share your story. And then you'll be a part of this compilation that we're doing. It's going to be both video and written. It's going to be within this year. I can guarantee that. I did initially say by my birthday in September, but I was talking to Debrina. She's like, and because I was going to the National Black MBA Association conference, and their theme is transform. Yes, their theme is transform, and their colors are like blue and orange. Like for the theme, it's a blue background and the words are in orange. And I say that as a Gator. I went to the University of Florida for my undergraduate and my graduate degree. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's for me. I gotta go because I'm all about transformation. I gotta get all my stuff done by September because I'm gonna go to the conference. I'm gonna stand in front of their big signage that says transform. I'm gonna talk about my transformation. And then I realized sometimes some things are for you. And sometimes things are not for you. And so what I'm doing, what I'm investing in is my true, my transformation. Because I've kind of felt like I got so much content I want to share with other people. I got to get it out. But the truth is, God is, as I pray and do my own prayer meditation, I started having this little leg injury that I literally could not walk. And so that was like, when I asked God, what do you want me to do? He's like, I think I said this last week, but it was like, love me. Like, love this temple of yours. Don't just talk about loving it because you ain't taking your vitamins, you barely take your medications, your supplements are sitting around. Like, if you really love a thing, and I'm a loving woman. Like, anyone who knows me that's a friend of mine, I overlove. Like, I do some stuff that they're like, wow, she really is, she really is loving and kind. I really am. Like, but I wasn't showing that same kind of love to my body. And so my leg rebelled. It literally stopped working. And I can tell you a whole long story, but the short story is, as I talked and prayed and meditated, etc., it's working just fine now. I can tell you that. I started taking some magnesium supplements, some spray magnesium oil. I was, I'm vitamin deficient in D3, which a lot of Black people are, D3 and K2. And, so I'm like, do the things for yourself, like pour into yourself, Traci Harrell. It's allowed. You are allowed. Don't go like you got to go give something to someone else. I'm showing up here and I'm giving it to y'all. Take it or leave it. I'm giving it out for free right here. Okay, I got 5 minutes before the first break. So let me wrap this up. When we come back, I'm going to have a very detailed list of to-dos like I always do. But I wanted to just, again, talk it out, bring you in, make sure you know this is the real deal. Like I really, my heart of heart is to support others. But I also am pouring into myself. And what I know for a fact as a transformational coach, which is why I mentioned all the things that I've done prior to today. Yes, thank you. Today is Monday. Whew. Sorry, I got something that I have to do on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So, whew. Okay. So what I'm doing for myself, and I'm proud to say this is everything I'm saying to you, right? These are things I've done in other areas of my life, as related to my business, as related to my education, as related to like all the things, my relationships with other people. Like I'm still got some things I'm working on for sure. I'm definitely a work in progress, but I am being very, very intentional. I'm not telling you somebody else's story. I'm telling you mine. So when I talk about transformation and what's possible, trust me on this, I'm telling you my story. So I want this weight loss thing, this releasing of weight, to be another part of my story. And so I'm living a new life. And I had to look at my own beliefs. Did I really believe that my body was a living temple? I wasn't acting like it. So then I had to really do some forgiveness work and like apologize to my body and my fat roll over here. Like, oops, sorry that I left you hanging, so to speak, right? Apologies, that I didn't do all the things that one would have. Like I said, I got fans to the right, to the left. I got a big tornado over here blowing air. So summer in Seattle is gorgeous. Like I said, if I had the doors open earlier, I probably wouldn't have walked into this hot room, but it's all good. So living my 6:24. Okay, got 3 minutes. So before the first break, and then come back, and I'm going to have a very detailed process steps for each of you when I come back. Okay. So what I wanted to do is be clear about the power of choice and clarity. Like every decision writes your legacy. When I say decisions determine your destiny, every decision that you make writes your legacy, right? That legacy lens, what would my future self thank me for? So you can start with that. Talk about clarity on your values and your purpose that fuel consistent action, right? So when I say, there are people in your life that you should connect with. You should be clear. People should know what your values are, what your purpose is, and how that fuels the actions that you're taking. If you're not clear on your values, if people don't know, make it clear. That's part of your legacy. That's part of what you're leaving behind. This person had very clear values. I was thinking about Dr. James Carter, who used to say all the time, God gave me all of these degrees and experience. If I don't pass it down to the next generation, shame on me. One of his values was legacy. He wanted to leave lessons for the next generation. And I think that is so beautiful. I want impact. I want to know that I'm making a serious impact, right? Justice and equity are important to me as another value. Peace and joy is a value. Also integrity, like alignment. Like I want to be aligned. I got so much stuff happening in my head. Sometimes it may not appear that I'm aligned. Which is another thing that Debrina, who's my business coach, is helping me, align so that it's clear. I oftentimes will combine things because that's how my brain works, and then I produce this, this other outcome. And if we all had to just say the power of choice and the power of clarity are a huge part of what it means to live powerfully. That means you got to be clear on what your values are. Be clear on what your purpose is, and then bring clarity to those people that are around you. They shouldn't ask. It shouldn't be, your actions should not be misaligned with what you say are important to you. So we talk about the power of the pause, and then I'll break. We got 1 minute before the break, so I got to bring these words in. Before every major action, pause and ask, is this aligned with who I truly am? Is this action aligned with who I truly am? That's big, because oftentimes it isn't. And then we just go on autopilot and it's okay. Not true. So I'm going to ask you guys, what decisions have you been avoiding that could unlock your next level? Right? What would your future self thank you for in the moment? That in the moment is so important. And then in the moment is whatever you're about to do aligned with who you truly are or who you want to be. Okay. Y'all, I love you dearly. We're going to take a very short break on Rainier Avenue Radio and come right back with more Better Together and Living Powerfully. Stay with us.
Speak up, Seattle. We are Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the station that cares.
Don't forget. The climate crisis is here, and communities most impacted are standing up. This is Earth Deserves More Than a Day, hosted by Rainier Avenue Radio and King County Parks. From elected officials to grassroots leaders, from river tours to cultural art, we gather to take action. Listen in. Learn more, then get involved, because the Earth can't wait, and neither can we.
My name is BK, International Talent Scout. I'm bringing a brand new show to you called BK Presents. 30 minutes, non-stop, your favorite in gospel music studio session. Going deep into interviews with your favorite artists, producers, and their engineers. You and your concert previews and concert reviews. Get it all on bkpresents.com.
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. This program offers healthcare, housing, transportation, and recreational activities. There are no copays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep you healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
Hello, I'm Tony Young, and every week I will be your guide to the music of the Fab Four with my show With the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, those four lads from Liverpool. First airings are Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. with repeats on Thursdays and Saturdays from 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. Tune in to catch Beatlemania.
So I needed to check my kids' immunization records for their school. My doctor told me I could get them quickly online, but I couldn't figure out how. Thankfully, I could turn to Link to Care WA for help. With Link to Care WA, I was able to learn how to use online health portals, use telehealth to talk to my doctor virtually, and even apply for jobs online. I called their free hotline and got help from a real person. Call Link to Care WA at 866-757-1832 or visit linktocarewa.org.
You are listening to Rainier Avenue Radio,
your community radio station.
Hey, y'all. This is Dr. Traci Harrell, and I'm back. I'm back to talk a little bit more, actually a lot more, about living powerfully and what that means for each of you. So we talked earlier about this idea of living powerfully, aligning with your purpose, embracing your legacy, and taking actions now, right? So we're not talking about change someday. We're not talking about what are you going to do next by the end of the year. We're saying we're claiming it today. This is all about living your legacy now. So right here, right now. So I showed up today. You show up for yourself, and each and every day. When I say your destiny determines your decisions determine your destiny. Your daily decisions determine your destiny. It's in the moment where it really, really counts. So we're going to talk about some things that you can get really clear on to help you truly live powerfully. So living your legacy begins with intentional daily choices. So today you're going to get tools, prompts, and steps to align your life with your divine purpose and begin living your legacy now. Let me say that again. Begin living your legacy right now. So this is my first little affirmation. Sometimes alignment is just not where we start. So if we want to repeat this out loud, say this with me. I am aligned with my purpose. I choose to live powerfully right now. I am living my legacy today. I'm actually going to copy this into the chat. Yes, I am. I'm going to post it right here as a comment. So this is something you can repeat to yourself just as a starting point, right? I am aligned with my purpose. I truly am. I choose to live powerfully right now. That's how you have meaning in the moment. I know I'm doing the right thing and I'm living my legacy today. I'm living my legacy right now, not later once I get to the director role or the VP role or somebody else's company. No, God gave me some gifts and I am living powerfully now. So we're going to talk about, does that make sense? I'll pause. The power of the pause. Okay, so first we want to just talk about, I had to claim my own clarity too, right? This whole concept of living powerfully, that language was not mine. That was divine, right? And I'm still choosing powerfully every day. Like I said, I was almost thinking I had to complete this book by a certain date, but really I got to do my journey. It's about the daily journey. It's almost like disconnect from the outcome, but you're going to be very clear on the choices that you're making, if that makes sense. Deepak Chopra has a book. It's called The Seven Powers of, seven laws of spiritual success. Deepak Chopra, the 7 laws of spiritual success. And one of them, I think it's like law number 4. But the first one law talks about, the infinite possibilities that exist in the universe. And y'all know I'm all about the infinite possibilities. You have to believe first that anything is possible. So I got big goals. Like I think God put me on this earth to do some amazing things in his way. And I only want to do it in his way. I don't want to do it somebody else's way. I don't want to do it in someone else's timing. I want it to be his timing, right? So I want that for each of you as well. So the power of purpose is so important. Being clear on why you were put on this earth, right? And then being clear on your alignment. The next topic for the day is around the power of clarity, choice, and change. I'm going to define those words, the 3 C's that will guide our journey. We need to be crystal clear. Clarity is knowing what you really want. Not what you say you want, not what you think you want, but what do you really want? And that goes into belief work, right? What do you really believe? And remember how we talked about, I don't know if you can see my hair blowing in the wind, but belief is like the wind. Right? It's there. You can't really see it, but our beliefs, they guide everything. So when the wind is blowing to the left, you're able to say, oh, I can see that. So you got to look at the patterns that show up in your life. And that's where a coach comes in. And I am a coach, Traci at itsallbiggerthanme.com. That's the work, right? That I can help people to do. You typically can't see your own wind, right? You got to have someone kind of guiding you through the process. And it's basically this idea of saying, I'm clear on what I want. And where are there inconsistencies, right? And so, the beliefs is where there are inconsistencies. Like I said, me and eating and choosing to work out or not take my medicine, I had to take a pause. And Debrina is my coach. She's like, right? She reminds us to pray and meditate, right? And so during my own prayer and meditation, I got some clarity from my body. I mentioned my leg locked up, and it was like, do you love me? And I'm like, of course. My body is a divine living temple. It's like, show me. I was like, go. Right? You're right. I'm not showing you. I'm not taking my medicine. I'm not taking my supplements. So I say all that to say, let me see. Okay. It looks like I got good battery. My computer just dimmed for a second there. So, okay. So clarity is so important. So knowing what you really want is important. Not what you say you want, what you think you want, but what you really, really want and what you believe. That's important. It sounds easy. but clarity is really, really important. So we're going to start with the C. Number one is knowing what you really want and looking to see if your life is aligned, right? Where there's some inconsistencies with what you say you want and what you're doing, right? Words and our actions don't always align. And so that's important. So clarity, knowing what you want and looking to see where there might be inconsistencies, okay? Choice is the second C that we're going to focus on, because I said earlier, decisions determine your destiny. So your beliefs are part of the clarity that you want to get, right? And again, that's work. It really is. It's the deep work. It's not, level 101 professional development. It's like deep transformational work when you're willing to go deep and really ask yourself those tough questions, right? And again, you need a coach that's going to lovingly say, no, that doesn't sound right to me. Let's think again. Let's look at the patterns in your life, right? You got to have someone who loves you enough, and I do, loves you enough to be able to take you on a journey that's really going to help you transform. So clarity is important, knowing what you really want, seeing where there's inconsistencies. Choice is important. Choice is taking actions that support your goals. Remember, your decisions determine your destiny. So if your actions don't align with what you say you want, then there's some lack of clarity. There's lack of consistency. That's when we're not living powerfully. That's when there's unnecessary, bumps in our life, right? We're talking about living with ease and flow. So when you get clear and you make wise choices, it's like, oh, my beliefs. Remember, I've said this too. Your beliefs are like the roots of this tree, of the tree of life, right? Of your life. And if the beliefs, they dictate your thoughts. So based on what you believe, your thoughts come from your beliefs. Your thoughts then create your emotions. And from your emotions is where your actions or your inactions come. And then your actions or inactions dictate your results. So if there were 5 areas of the mind and how the mind works, it's beliefs, thoughts, emotions, actions, and results. So that's kind of how it all works. So when I say your choices matter, you don't want to just start here. You can't start in the middle, because again, whatever your beliefs are, they're going to supersede the actions that you say you want to take. Beliefs, thoughts, emotions, and actions. So it's way over here. You can say, I want to do this thing. I'm going to just force myself to do this thing. That's not deep enough, right? That's like, I take this action so I can get this result. That's surface level stuff, which people do all the time. That's not where you're going to have the long-term transformation. It's not. So again, our choices and our clarity, all of that is a result of you doing the belief work, going deep enough so that you can have the third C, which is change. I said clarity, choice, and change, right? And I'm looking at my notes, so bear with me. But clarity, choice, and change. So change is releasing what no longer serves you. Releasing those beliefs that no longer serve you. So you get to go deep. You get to dig up some roots. Oh, I can't think that I want to release weight, but apparently I also think that I should be able to eat whatever I want whenever I want, because I grew up kind of poor. So I was like, when I grew up, success for me meant I can eat whatever I want whenever I want. Do you see my head rolling? That was a deeper belief for me, because I grew up relatively poor and I used to have to eat food that I didn't like. And so as a girl who was making straight A's, I was like, oh no, when I grow up, I would be making enough money to eat whatever I want, whenever I want it. So that belief superseded this concept of saying I want to choose well. Now I want to eat healthy because my body really is a divine living temple, but there were beliefs that were contradictory, so that I would just choose to eat whatever I want, thinking I was rewarding myself, and it was not aligning with me saying I really want to, have my weight aligned with a healthier, model, if that makes sense. So change is releasing what no longer serves you. That belief that I had growing up, that I can eat whatever I want, that the success was eating whatever I want whenever I wanted it. That was my definition of success. I got to release that, right? I was bullied by my brother growing up too, and others, but mostly my brother, probably the most impactful one. And he's lovely. He's a lovely individual. But he would say horrible things. And some of that kind of stuck in my head, and it made me think, maybe he was right. Now, we've moved past that, clearly. But I'm saying that was part of the work that I had to get through as well. Forgive him, forgive myself, right, for making choices that were not aligned with my greatest well-being, right? So this is important. So I got to keep moving. Clarity, choice, and change. Those are the 3 C's that you want to focus on. Knowing what you really want, taking actions that support your goals, and then change. Releasing what no longer serves you. And let me go back to, I'm going to need for my producer. Okay, I don't see anyone else. I need you to say something audible, by the way, if anyone joins. You're not going to be able to put it in the chat anymore. Sorry. Oh, let me put my 3 C's here. The 3 C's that will guide our journey. This is going to be in my book, but I'm going to put it here for you guys. Anyway. So the 3 C's, I'm going to post it here. There you go, right? They will guide our journey. Clarity, choice, change. Those are so important. So that's the work that we're doing now. So you're going to want to ask yourself, what do you really want out of life? So that's the clarity question. What brings you peace, energy, and joy? What are you tolerating that must go? Who are you tolerating that must go? I'm sorry. I had to say that. Sorry. Anyway, so step 1, you want to create a clarity statement. Like, I choose a life of what? Like, of love, of freedom, of peace, of impact. For me, it is love. It is impact, right? It is joy. Like, I'm going to be happy. I'm showing up. Listen, I'm living my very best life. When I say I'm living in waterfront locations, it's unconventional. And God knows it's all for me. I'm just saying, like, I'm happy every day. I'm being honest. Like, I'm living my very best life. But I also am impactful. Like, I'm helping people. Even just this show, like, I'm showing up. Don't think for a minute. My business is called It's All Bigger Than Me Ministry. It's a ministry of the mind. And it's like, I've been doing this work since, like, I think I started the ministry in 2019, right? 2019. Wow. Yeah. I think could have been before that. But anyway, it's important to really know, I choose a life of what? I am worthy of it and I am creating it. So that's your clarity statement, right? Let it be short, let it be simple, but be clear. What are you trying to do? Now, I can talk a little bit more about positive intelligence and moving from saboteur to sage, because living powerfully is not just an external action. It's about mastering your internal world, right? When we talked about those saboteurs, the pleaser, the avoider, some of you should already know that. If not, we could talk about that. I can work with you one-on-one or with groups. But when you have those internal saboteurs, those are the voices. They're not your truth. They're fear-based. They're survival-based. And so you want to identify your top saboteurs, and then you want to, when you see them, there's a process that we've identified where you get to shut them down, right? The pleaser, am I constantly trying to please somebody? Do I avoid conflict or hard decisions? If you're the avoider, am I constantly chasing approval or perfection as the hyperachiever, right? You got to ask yourself these questions again. Oftentimes, there's people outside looking in. That's the work that we can do as a coach, but I'm going to keep moving. And then the sage mindset, it's like the sage voice of wisdom. It's calm, it's creative, it's curious, and it's full of compassion. And it helps you to pause. Remember, we did some of those exercises. We talked about the power of the pause, the PQ exercise, where you rub your fingers together slowly and you feel the ridges of your fingertips, whatever. You deeply breathe. You say to yourself, I'm safe, I'm whole. I choose my power. Like it's calming when you decide. But really, if you stay with me here, I got a few minutes left, and I really want to end with a powerful bang. So those first 3 C's are really, really important, right? We talked about the clarity piece, but you also, this is about living powerfully. It's your legacy framework. So I'm going to guide you guys on this legacy framework throughout the next few weeks, and we're going to come back to it. We're going to talk about these things, but this 3 C's are going to be like foundational. Right, we're going to continue to come back to those. So I don't want you to think it's like once you get it, you're done, because you always want to come back to it. Right, clarity, knowing what you really want, choice, taking actions that support your goals. Your decisions determine your destiny. It's in the moment. Don't let nobody else tell you something different. Well, I don't operate that way. I get to decide later on. You will never get there. You're always going to be this inconsistent, non-authentic. Whatever, people are going to see you, and then you're not going to show up authentic, right? Because you're going to say one thing, and they're going to experience you differently. And I use that language because my first coach, her name was Kim Smith. She used to say to me all the time, when I was in the corporate space, how do people experience you? She's like, you're brilliant, and you're probably too brilliant for most people. You talk fast, you move fast, you blah, 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 blah. But you also are able to package information in a very clear way. Like my manager used to say, like, you have superpowers. Right? Like, there's not many people that are able to think strategically and operationally, build a database, and be executive executive summary is, where you're very clear on what you want. So we just have to be in a position where, you're with the people who actually want the true change. And he's like, I want it. I want it more than you know. And I remember feeling the love and being able to work in a process and with people who wanted everything that I had. And that's not often, right? That's not often. Because as soon as leadership changes, it's like, well, we don't need a smart. No, I'm just joking. I'm sorry. It's true. But I'm regressing because what I want to be clear on is those 3 C's, clarity, choice, and change. It's something that you have to work on consistently based on who's in your life, right? Because what's clear to you may not be clear to someone that you're speaking to. And clarity is your responsibility. Let me just say that again. Communication and clarity is your responsibility. I do talk fast. I do, interrupt people when I don't think I am. They pause for a fraction of a second, and I think it's my time to talk. So I'm working on that. Like I'm working on my clarity, being clear. And, if you're in a, working situation and there's time, it's like you got to choose well, right? Taking actions that support my goal. My goal is to make sure when people work with me, they're having a great experience and they're getting change. They're getting impact. That's one of my values is impact. I can't just be lollygagging around. I know I'm working with someone who like people around them, they're used to just telling them what they want to hear. And I'm like, that can't ever be me. Like I can never tell you what you want to hear if that is not going to be aligned with the greatest impact for you and your company. That is not who I am. A lot of people are like, well, as a consultant, you can produce a recommendation, but you can't make people take it. For sure, you cannot. But I can't not give you the recommendation that I think is going to help you the most. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. You got to be clear what are your values? What choices are you going to make and the change that you want? Like release what doesn't serve you. So for me, what I was doing this work with someone, I know what doesn't serve me is you can't push someone to take a change. All you can do is document it clearly. Here's my recommendation. If you choose not to do this, our outcomes are not going to be what I would hope they would be, but we're moving on. Move on, right? Like for me, I can't want it more than you, but I'm going to give it to you the best I can, and we're going to keep moving. Okay. So I'm going back to what I call the living powerfully legacy framework. We're going to go deeper into this next week, but stay with me here. It's so good. So you think about building your legacy right now in real time. I call this the living powerfully. It's our legacy framework. There's 4 pillars of your legacy. There are 4 V's, right? It's vision. It's what you stand for. It's your voice, what you must express. It's the vessel, how you care for your body, your mind, and your spirit. And it's victory. It's the daily action you take to move forward. That's your victory. You get to celebrate those, right? So that's the pillars, the 4 pillars of this living powerfully legacy framework, this living legacy framework, right? Stay with me here. Because again, having a very clear vision, what do you stand for? What are your values? What do you want to accomplish, right? What must you say and or do? Your voice, getting it out. A lot of times I know we felt like we didn't have a voice. You're not living powerfully if you don't have a clear vision. If your voice, what must you express or do? The vessel, how do you care for your body, your mind, and your spirit? That's what I'm working on right now, y'all. Vision, I'm good. My vision is so clear. What God wants me to do and how I'm going to show up in people's lives, I already know. Voice, clearly I got a lot to express because I show up here every week just blah blah blah. Because I want to get it out. I got books and things that are like my 3 books, international bestsellers, because I poured into the last book. You guys got to get it. It's called Ignite Possibilities. There's a first and a second edition. The second edition, you'll see my name on the front cover. It is absolutely beautiful. I help 30 authors birth their stories, right, around what's possible. It's so beautiful. But the next series is going to be about us, right? It's our living legacy. Us living our legacy. So having a clear vision, having your voice, a vessel, how are you caring for your body, your mind, and your spirit, and then the victory, the daily actions that you're taking to move forward. And it starts small. Like I said, I gotta take my vitamins. I gotta take my supplements. I can't not do that, right? And so here's your homework. Here's your first reflection, right? It's a little bit of a blueprint to the foundation of your legacy. So my vision is to what? You gotta ask yourself that question before we come back next week. Reach out to me if you have any questions and need some help. My voice will speak the truth about what it means to live powerfully, how you can get there. I can't not do that work. That's why I was put on this earth. I honor my vessel I'm honoring it now way more than I ever did, right? And that's the work I'm doing right now, right? I'm choosing to do better. So you guys will see by my next birthday, I'll be 100 pounds lighter. I already put the number into the universe. And in October, I'm going to Jamaica with Sabrina and the Holistic Success Lady. So by October, I hope to be 20 pounds lighter. That's July, August, September. That's 3 months. I can lose 20 pounds in 3 months, right? Just by doing the right thing, showing up. So that's how I'm going to honor my vessel. And then my victory today, when I say, what are you going to do? One thing toward your goal. One thing, two things, three things, right? And then celebrate. Yay! Whatever you did, you celebrate it. Because it's the neuroscience part of it, right? So having a courageous conversation with yourself, right? Writing down your vision, your mission. That's what you want to do. Do one of these things in the next 24 hours to live your legacy, right? Either write down your vision, your mission, something. Either one. Have a courageous conversation with yourself about where am I really? If I look at them C's, am I being clear, right? If I looked at those 3 C's Traci was talking about, clarity, choice, and change, am I really being clear? Knowing what you want? Am I taking actions to support my goals? Am I releasing what no longer serves me? I don't know, right? So that's important. It's important. So as we kind of bring this to a close, you also want to take a break and honor your wellness over this next 24 hours. Every day, your daily decisions determine your destiny. That's the beauty of this. Not what you do, come the end of the year. No, your daily decisions. So I choose to live powerfully by. So that's a declaration, right? So there's a whole bunch of things that I could send to you. There's more stuff that we're going to do, but I'm going to ask you to just remind yourself a little bit of a affirmation and a blessing. I'm enough. Say that to yourself. Repeat after me. I am enough. I am worthy. I am powerful, and I am living my legacy now. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing this sacred space with me. Until next time, I'm asking you all to stay bold, stay beautiful, and remember, it's bigger than me, and it starts with you. It all starts with you. Oh my goodness. Oh, I have some announcements. Okay. So we have the best viewers on streambo.net. Oh, someone else wrote that. I don't know what that is. Okay. I thought that was sorry. I thought that was from my hello. I thought that was from my producer. But I know next we have Lid Line Sports. Let me look at my private chat and see if my there we go. So Lid Line Sports, it's hosted by Pep, Otis, and Michael Carter. It's going to be live here at 7 p.m. It is the fastest hour in sports. So stay with us right here on Rainier Avenue Radio. And next week, what I can promise you is a continuation of this amazing, amazing work. So if anyone wants to be a part, I think I put my email here. If you want to be a part of this living legacy now, and you want to tell your story and you want to share your wisdom, email me, and I would love to interview and bring you in as a part of this show, as a part of the book that's coming up, and all these wonderful things that we're doing. So right now, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I could not be more grateful. As a quick recap, I think I have 2 minutes. Is that right? I think I do. Tell me. So the 3 C's, remember, the 3 C's that are going to guide our journey moving forward, right? It's the power of clarity, the power of choice, and the power of change. Clarity, knowing what you really want, looking for that alignment, taking actions that support your goal, right? Being willing to go deep and ask, yourself these courageous questions about your true beliefs, where there are inconsistencies, and then releasing. Change is the 3rd C. Clarity, choice, and change. Releasing what no longer serves you, right? Those are the 3 C's. And then as we talked about the vision, or the V's, the 4 V's, related to the pillars of your legacy, of living your legacy now. Your vision is what you stand for. You have a clear vision. Remember your voice. You got to bring your voice forward. What must you express and say and do? What is that? What is that about? What must you speak your truth about? Your vessel. How are you caring for your body, your mind, and your spirit? Y'all, if we're not caring for our bodies, and I'm like I said, living lesson of not caring for my body the way I should. Like I said, I'm doing better now. We're going to talk more about that next week. But this is important. Vision, clarity. These are all the things we want to do to move forward. And then you want to celebrate also, right? The victory. A daily action that move you toward your goal. You want to celebrate yourself, celebrate your victories. It's really about being grateful for all the things that you're able to do, that you want to do, and that you can leave for the next generation. Okay, that's me, y'all. This is Dr. Traci Harrell. You've been watching Better Together and Living Powerfully. More to come next week. Thank you.